two ways you got here. Tonight's presentation is about sarcopenia. So who has ever heard the term osteopenia? What does it mean?
Onset of osteoporosis.
Onset of osteoporosis. So it's kind of a precursor of losing your bone mineral density, right? Before full-on osteoporosis. Tonight's subject is sarcopenia. Any idea what that is? The muscle. What about the muscle? Losing muscle, yeah. So you will find out by our in-house nerd, Dr. Chris, more of the details about this, but this is natural losing of our muscles as we age. You're going to learn how to fight that. You're going to learn when you need to start, if you haven't started already. And then we're going to get busy at the end of this. So he's going to talk about 20 minutes or so, somewhere around there. We are really casual here, informal. If you've got questions, please raise your hand, interrupt us, shout, kick a leg out, do something, hit your neighbor, whatever you want to do, okay? Let's interact and let's make this meaningful for you, okay? So if I have one thing to say before we start, that is that muscle is the tissue of longevity. Bone can't make muscle, but muscle can improve bone. Okay? So there's a lot of emphasis out there on bone, 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 don't fall and break your hip, blah, 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 blah. Your first line of defense is muscle. So we're going to learn first, and then we're going to do some hands-on time. Coach David will be here shortly. He's coming from teaching a class at Montgomery College on lifting. Nice. We didn't even plan that today. We didn't, I promise. So he will be here. We've got Coach Ginny here. She's a fitness coach. Coach Ian in the back. He's a fitness coach. Dr. John Jowers will be here as well, a few minutes late from dropping a kid off at track and field practice, I think. So we're just normal people, normal lives, casual. Let's talk. Let's inform you, and then let's have some fun and moving. And we're going to learn the 4 main lifts today. Deadlifting, squatting, pressing with our arms, and pulling with our arms. All different ways to do these things. As a physical therapist, I can't tell you how many times we get patients coming in and they say, my doctor told me because of my knees or my back, I should never squat or lunge again. Anybody ever been told that? Probably not by Dr. Hunters or Dr. Anderson. No, they're smart. But, you know, to that we say, well, how do you get in and out of a chair? You squat. How do you get on and off the toilet? You squat. How do you get in and out of your car? You lunge and you squat and you twist. I mean, life requires movement. And so none of these things are off limits with age. So we will start with the basics. Everybody's going to learn how to do these just with your body weight. For those of you who are more comfortable or maybe have a history with sports or athletics or lifting, we got all kinds of equipment and we can bust out dumbbells and kettlebells and really kind of challenge you. So does anybody have questions you want answered tonight that we should know up front before we even start with the knowledge portion of this? Anybody have burning questions that you're like, I want to get that answered tonight? Yes.
I get it.
With what arthritis? Rheumatoid arthritis. Yes, yes, we will talk about that. Absolutely. Anything else? Yes.
Diagnosed with Parkinson's.
Parkinson's.
A lot of.
That's one of my favorites. Hi, Ted. Oh, I can't wait. We have a client that we have seen for 17 years now, and advanced end stage, advanced Parkinson's, yada, 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 yada. Doctor said, you'll never run, you'll be in a chair, you'll not, he's still walking. Yeah. So I cannot stand how people, if you get a diagnosis, put you in a box and then wrap it with all the, you're going to never do this, you're going to lose this, you're not going to be able to do this. Baloney. So, yeah. So Parkinson's, rheumatoid arthritis, anything else? Any other specific burning questions? Yeah.
Another question. Herniated discs in the back.
Okay. Upper, middle, lower. Lower, lumbar. Okay. And hernia, so inguinal,
Yes.
umbilical, yeah, okay, got it. Anything else? Let's roll. Dr. Chris, it's all yours.
Cool. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. Feel free. I'm a talker, a rambler. I'll get off on tangents and stuff. So if anybody wants to interrupt me and ask questions, please. I have a little cheat sheet there on my phone to keep me on task. That's my goal, to just kind of keep everything flowing, very nicely. So to piggyback off of what Dr. Liz was saying, how many of you, like before you saw the flyer that was sent out, that you were, that was sent to you, how many of you had even heard of sarcopenia? By show of hands. Yeah, so not a ton, right? So I mean, muscle's so important. Why does nobody talk about it? Well, it's finally getting talked about by people, right? But what do you hear about? You hear about osteopenia, osteoporosis. You hear about the big ones, right? Heart disease. You hear about cancer. You hear about other things, diabetes. Right now, all the press is all about the GLP-1 drugs, right? But people, we need to talk more and more about muscle, because how you function in your life, it's the muscle, right? The muscle helps you to actually function and do the things that you want to be able to do. So sarcopenia, it's a decline in muscle size, strength, and function. That's a normal part of aging, right? But it's a different slope for everybody. And my goal is to go over exactly what sarcopenia is, right? Give you guys a good grasp on what you can do to control that, right? So that you can steady things out and maintain your strength and your function as long as you can, right? Throughout your entire life, right? And, give you other strategies that you can do to just, again, you level things off and you keep yourself strong and mobile, okay? So what are 3 things that you can do to positively affect your muscle, right? Number 1, exercise, specifically resistance training. Okay, you put strain on the muscles, they adapt positively. Okay, number 2, nutrition. Okay, adequate protein. It's huge, because what does muscle need? It needs a stimulus, right? You need to work it. And 2, it needs fuel. Okay, the fuel for muscle is protein. Okay, so with adequate stimulus, exercise, and adequate fuel with the protein, right, you can maintain and grow your muscles. Okay, and then dark horse number 3 for maintaining and optimizing your muscle, right, is sleep. Okay, because what does sleep do? Right, it gives you rest, it helps you feel recharged, all that stuff. But what about hormones? So hormones, hugely important, right, in the regulation of what's going on inside your body that you can't really see. Okay, and your hormones are regulated with normal, regular sleep patterns. Okay, so I want to talk about muscle just in general for a little bit, and then we'll double back to sarcopenia. Okay, so there's about 206 bones on average in the human body. You want to guess how many muscles there are? Anybody?
500 something.
You're really close. Over 600. Over 600 muscles in the human body. They're everywhere, right? Everywhere. They move your eyeballs, right? Your heart's a muscle. Your diaphragm's a muscle, the main muscle that helps you breathe. Okay, the linings of blood vessels. Okay, your entire GI tract, right? Everything that moves the food and processes everything, it's all muscle, and it all functions, right? It's different types, right? And it all has to function well for you to be, again, optimize the way that you're living and how you feel. Okay. So 3 main types of muscle. Okay, smooth muscle, that's the lining of the gastrointestinal tract. Okay, that's blood vessels. Okay, that's the stuff that's inside for the most part. Number 2, cardiac muscle. Self-explanatory, right? That's the heart. Okay, that's its own kind of muscle. Number 3, the big one that we're going to talk about today primarily, skeletal muscle. Okay, and skeletal muscle, that's the one that's attached to the bones. That's the one that helps you move. It helps you do the things, helps you lift the weights, that helps you get up out of this chair, it helps you walk around the block, it helps you do everything that you need to do on a daily basis. Okay? All right. So, as far as skeletal muscle is concerned, there's 2 types. They're broken into subtypes, but we're going to simplify it. We're just going to talk about type 1s and type 2s. Okay? Type 1, slow twitch fibers. Okay? They're slow to fatigue. So can anybody have a guess as to an example of a muscle that's a type 1 or an activity that uses type 1 muscle fibers. Slow twitch, slow to fatigue. Jogging works. Yep, as long as you're going slowly enough, right? So steady state jogging is great. What else? All of you are using them right now. I don't see anybody sleeping, right? You're holding your head up, right? Your postural muscles, they hold you up, right? They don't fatigue easily for most people, right? Except the people that are really deconditioned, right? But the muscles that hold you up support your spine and help you not to double over, right? They're slow to fatigue, right? Those are type 1 muscle fibers. You walk, you cycle, you swim, right? Typical cardio activities are type 1, they preferentially use type 1 muscle fibers, okay? Type 2s, those are the big ones, okay? They're fast twitch, they're also fast to fatigue, okay? They are the ones that decline the quickest as you get older, and they're the ones that individuals do not train consistently enough as you get older to maintain them. So your body selectively turns those off, right? You divert energy to other things, okay? What are some activities that you all think use type 2 muscle fibers? Yep. What gave you away? What else? Yep. Yep. Yeah. Sweeping. You never know. It's a lot of effort. They got to move pretty fast.
Football and basketball.
There you go. Any sporting activity, right? Lifting weights, jumping, sprinting, anything, recovering, right? You trip and you go to fall down, right? You go to recover yourself, right? That, getting up out of the chair, right? That's fast twitch muscle fibers, right? That requires strength to pull on your bones and get you up. All right. Why does all this matter? What do you all like to do? Right? You're here for a reason, right? To learn about muscle, learn about sarcopenia, and learn what you can do to prevent it, right? What kinds of activities do you all like to do in your spare time? What do you like to do?
Go to the gym.
Yeah. What? Golf. Yeah. What do you like to do? There we go. Grandkids, right? They start off nice and small, right? But they got to pick them up off the floor, right? And then they get bigger and bigger. I have a 3 and a 6-year-old. I get 35 pounds and 65 pounds, right? And they don't hold back on grandma and grandpa, right? They want to hug, and my 6-year-old she's a tank, right? So she's gonna jump in and she's gonna run into you. She's not gonna stop. So they'll hold back a little bit. But grandma's there, and she's got to be strong enough to react and catch her and kind of support her weight. What else?
Across the beach.
Yeah. Yeah, preventing falls, right? Big bad thing that happens when you're older, right? That increases your level of disability. You work to prevent falls, right? By being stronger, okay? And more muscle tissue you have if you fall, right? It supports your structure, it supports those bones even more. Older body, right? It's falls, they happen, right? You want to bounce, you want to break when you fall, right? Sometimes you can't prevent it. But the more muscle tissue you have, the better everything's going to be supported, and the less chance of that disability you're going to have.
So the good example for that is if you stand on top of go stand on the roof of this building with an egg and wrap it in bubble wrap and drop it versus wrap it in paper and drop it. You get a little bit better response with the bubble wrap. That's what our muscles are for our bones. That doesn't cushion bones. Muscle cushions bones. Yeah, very good point.
Okay, so what actually happens with sarcopenia? So muscle function you're in tip-top shape, basically. Muscle function is at its peak in your 20s and 30s, right?
And it all goes downhill.
Slowly, right? There's a gradual decline as you go through kind of decade by decade over life, right? In untrained people, right? As long as you keep training, you are able to maintain the health, okay? The health and the structure of those muscles. Typically, around age 70, it accelerates. Okay, but what happens in middle and older age, do you think that contributes to the decline and contributes to that, that acceleration that happens when you're 70? Any ideas? Not moving? Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
I'm jumping right in. You teed me up. You're a perimenopausal woman right here. So women in the room, we lose on average 5 to 8% of our muscle every decade after the onset of menopause. That's a lot. You've got to think about those numbers. Think about how much you weigh. You guys all do the in-body scans of your body, so you know exactly what your body density is, how much is fat-free, how much is fat, how much is skeletal muscle, visceral fat, all of that stuff. 5 to 8% per year women lose after menopause. So you have to get a lot
I don't
in
have any anymore.
because we naturally lose so much. We lose a lot more than men. The last statistic I read on men was like 3 to 4%. So we're easily double.
So what else happens? Right? Injuries. I'm sorry? There you go.
Yeah.
Yep. Less movement, right? You're active, you're going, right? People are just generally more active, right? They're 18, they're teens, they're 20s, they're 30s, they're doing lots of stuff. What happens, right? You slow down, family, whatever, work takes priority, other things, right? Your pie fills up with other stuff. So you're not able to focus on your overall fitness and your well-being quite as much.
Car accidents and this and that.
That's exactly
And
what
you're always fighting against all of that.
exactly. You have a surgery, right?
I heard somebody just say pain.
Aches and pains.
Yeah.
Aches and pains, right? Whether it's acute injury or acute pain or chronic pain, that also creeps up as we age,
Yeah.
right? So sometimes just because we hurt, we don't want to move. And it's hard to understand until you get into the rhythm of it, how much investing in your building muscle will give you back in energy and pain-free movement.
Yep. Absolutely. So
Within 6 weeks, you'll notice a big difference.
Yeah.
Within 6 weeks. It takes 6 weeks for cells to change.
I'm going to piggyback off of that in a second. So what happens, right? What happens? You have a fall, you have an injury, right? You have pain. You stop exercising, right? Stuff happens. Okay. You slow down. So those muscle fibers, they shrink, right? Muscle it's expensive for your body to spend energy on to maintain. So what happens? Your body, right? It dials things back, right? It diverts to more primary things. It's getting signals that you're not moving as much. You're not doing things. So it's like, okay, I'm going to take the energy that I was using to maintain that muscle. I'm going to use it for other stuff. Okay. So the muscle tissue shrinks. And then over time, as it stays shrunken, right? Because muscle is not a great, energy source in general, right? What's a great energy source that people generally have a lot of in their body, right? Fat. Yep. That's what happens. So it takes up that space from where the shrunken muscles are, right? And your body's like, oh, I'm going to put some fat here. I'm going to put some fat here, put it here, put it here. And then that further impairs your ability to use those muscles. Okay. But again, something that we can slow down.
I'm going to jump in again.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're taping here.
Yeah.
It was not planned. But ladies, what are the 3 areas on our bodies that we get most frustrated with? The pouch, right? Okay. And guys, just be sensitive here, okay? The what do we call them? The angel wings? Yeah, how they flap, right? And our inner thighs. Do we love these areas on our bodies?
Very much so.
Okay. Guess what? Those are the 3 primary estrogen stores in a woman's body. As estrogen decreases and leaves our system, what are we left with in those 3 areas? Fat. Okay, so as you nerd out about building muscle, as you choose places to engage in classes, private one-on-one training, group training, things like that, make sure that you're picking places that have those kind of level of details. Because ladies should be crushing those 3 areas every single time. Yeah,
So I'm wondering if you would go into a little bit. So, tendons, ligaments, okay, well, I'm muscles.
Yeah.
But they're all attached.
Yeah.
You know, and if you've got tendon problem, or ligament in that. then
Yeah.
you're limited in what
You are limited to some acuity or injury, but all guidelines suggest, right? What do you do to rehab a tendon that is, whether it's, again, a ruptured tendon, right? You're not gonna be able to exercise it, right? It depends on the level of injury, right? A tendon that has some kind of tendonitis, tendinopathy, right? Partial tear. As long as things have had time to kind of calm down from that acute stage, you use it. You load it, right? You load through that tendon, right? And the actual loading of the muscle through the tendon to the bone actively works to heal the tendon, right? As long as you do it consistently, right? And you do it in an appropriate load and appropriate intensity, it will actually heal over time, right? You hear about, talk about arthritis, right? Arthritis is another thing that typically happens as you get older, right? For a variety of reasons. What is arthritis like? It likes movement, right? You move a joint through the most available range of motion that you have, you increase blood flow, you improve the neural signaling, and you improve the ability of those muscles to control that joint through a greater range of motion. What happens? You're generally gonna have less pain, right? You're gonna have improved function. So exercise, loaded exercises, right? Like stretches are fine, right? In the beginning stages, but loaded exercises, meaning with weight or body weight, that's how you're really going to create that plastic, that adaptation for the muscles in the long term.
you think there is some bands?
Loaded, yes.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's it. We'll get into it, right? But there are entry points, right? And there are different levels, right? Whether it's weights or bands or body weight or whatever it is, right? That you can divert, right? You can, as long as you're working at an appropriate intensity to stress your body or a specific tissue that you're trying to work on, you're good, right? That's getting more into the, kind of more the specificity, the minutia of it. But yeah, it's great.
I'll jump off that too. On a cellular level, muscles are full of blood, right? Blood carries what? Oxygen. Oxygen is what induces healing to soft tissues. Everything in your body that's not a bone will be healed faster and better with the aid of oxygen. So the tendons and the ligaments, by rehabbing and doing specific exercises to engage the muscles, you're engaging and improving more blood flow, which means you're bringing more oxygen, which is healing.
So I remember I was going to piggyback off you earlier. So you talked about the 6 weeks and the time for cells to change. So the other change that happens, other than physiologically, right, the muscles shrink, right? Your brain is getting all those signals, right? The ultimate computer, you're not stimulating your muscles, your body enough, right? So what does it do? It decreases the amount of signals that are going to that area, okay? That's natural and it happens over time anyway, right? Just different for different people. It's difficult with Parkinson's, right? You're not getting the signals through, but you train. That's why you start training. A lot of people feel better the first week or two, right? You're a little sore, but you feel better. You feel stronger. You're like, man, I'm getting stronger, right? It's not strength yet, right? You're not creating anything. The cellular change, it takes 6 weeks. Strength changes, it's 8 to 12 weeks, right? Initially, it's just your brain is talking to the muscles better. You're communicating with those muscles, or communicating with your body better. And that directly translates to you just feeling better, just by that simple act of just starting to do something.
So who are my fellow nerds that want another detailed information? Anybody? Okay, we got a nerd. I'm a proud nerd. You should be a proud nerd. So with nerves, right? Nerves operate, our brain is our computer. Nerves operate our entire body. It's a two-way street. We have afferent and efferent nerves. Break that down. What the hell does that mean? That means that our computer, our brain, talks to our body and tells it what to do. That also means that our body gives feedback to our brain. Everybody got that? So as we get older, and he's talking about your brain is not giving out all these messages, one way that we can fight it is for our body to give more feedback to our brain. And then we keep that nerve cycle going. So when you have a progressive neurological disorder, like Parkinson's, Lou Gehrig's, MS, and a host of others, those are the really common ones, that is progressive demyelination, right, in MS, or that's progressive messing up of the talking and the signals. We can impact that by moving our body and sending signals to our brain. We can also impact that, like all these pro athletes and stuff on our wall, by sitting there and doing imagery work, where you sit and you think about your body moving. You think about swinging your golf club. You think about being on the pickleball court. That stuff matters too. Matters almost just as much. So think about your computer, right, sending messages to your body, but also your body needs to talk back to the computer and say, hey, this is what we're doing.
Cool. So you train, good things happen, right? Things are going to happen over the course of your life, right? You get diagnosed with a disorder, you get diagnosed with arthritis, you have pain, you herniate a disc, right? You tear something, you have surgery, right? Elective or not, okay? The stronger you are at base, right? You're the better off you're going to be, right? You build up your physiologic reserve. This is the biggest, this is the best way that I've heard this described, right? You fill your tank up, right? You build up your physiologic reserve so that when something knocks you down, you get a cold, right? You just something minor, right? You got to be in bed a couple of days, right? You don't feel too good right after that. But you build up that physiologic reserve so that you have that buffer, right? Anybody recognize the name Natalie Graybo? No? So last year, so it would have been 2025. So she's the oldest female to ever complete the Ironman World Championship race. 80 years old. Yeah. She didn't start swimming. She learned to swim until she was 59, which is super cool, right? But do you think from 59 to 80, she like never got sick, never had any problems or anything? I mean, it's incredible. She was able to train and maintain that level of intensity all the way up until she broke the record, of course, right? But I mean, you build up a level of physiologic reserve, so you're able to weather the storm that comes of real life, right? And then you're able to keep going, okay? Other barriers, so we talked about barriers to entry for exercise, strength training, right? Pain can be one, right? Anybody think of any other barriers, just in general? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. What about time? Right? Making time for it, wanting to make time for it. Right?
What about stiffness? Have any of you experienced more stiffness in your body as you're aging? Loss of collagen, loss of all those lovely things, right, that affect our skin. So our mobility decreases. That's a big barrier to lifting weights. If you can't touch your toes, or you can't reach to your knees, or you can't bend your hips to do any of these movements, that's one that we hear a lot. I don't move well. I can't move. I'm too stiff. I can't do that.
And just knowing where to start, right? Understanding, you read these things. So I should be exercising. I should be doing this. I should be doing that, right? It's great, right? But putting that into action and establishing a plan, right? A starting point and able to walk you through. I mean, that's the key. Right? Because what's the recommendation? It's 150 minutes, like zone 2 cardio per week, right? So it's 30 minutes a day, 5 days during the week, where you're actively walking into where you can have a conversation but not sing, right? So it's that level of cardio minimum. So at least 2 days of strength training, right? Preferably more if you can fit it in and if you can make it happen. But it's that plus then it's living your life and doing the things that you want to do. Plus it's, eating a well-balanced diet, right? That's high in protein, which we can talk about, but it's a lot of stuff that kind of goes into it. Okay. But that's the key, right? You establish a plan, consistent with it, with the strength training, right? And with the protein, thinking about nourishing those muscles as your primary focus. Yes.
Is it possible to overdo the protein?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. So you got to be aware of kidney function, because the kidneys are what kind of metabolize, they kind of filter through the proteins. And if you're concerned about it, you can obviously consult with your physician. The recommendation has generally been 0.6 to 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight for people. That recently just went up, so it's 1.6 to 1.8 grams per kilogram. So it went up a lot. Or it's 1.4 and 1.6 or something. It's somewhere in that range. So I did the math for myself. So I'm 175 pounds. So that'd be 80 to 127 grams of protein per day, which is, it's a good bit, right? But you think about spreading it out throughout the day, right? And prioritizing it in your meals, you can make it happen. But your body can get overloaded. It's not.
Convert grams to pounds or something, or ounces.
So
it's almost 1 to 1. So if about 75% of your body weight in pounds, let's say if you weigh 100 pounds, you need 75 grams of protein per day. If you weigh 200 pounds, you need more.
Does that mean 8 ounces of something? Auntie tuna? Or what does that mean?
David, come here. So Coach David is our head fitness coach here. So when we are talking about getting in that much protein, I'll give you the nuts and bolts of it, and he will nerd out about this. So when you're trying to get that much protein, you need to supplement, right? You need a protein shake.
Yeah.
We have protein shakes here. All of our clients have access to them. When you're done with your workout, grab a protein shake, hit the door. There's 20 gram or 30 gram protein shakes. Yeah, it is safe to supplement because you can't eat a whole chicken and a half cow every day. You just can't eat that much, right? So David, what do you tell people on that?
So we're always up for a challenge. Bring me a chicken.
Oh, wow.
So what's the exact answer you're looking for?
How do you get that much protein per day?
So the easiest way to go after protein, one of the things we're really, really good at as like a people is overcomplicating everything, right? So like right now we say, how do we get that much protein in per day or whatever like that? The easiest way for right now is just focus on one meal, just one meal. If you can knock down that one meal and you can get the plate right and make sure that it's the rest of the day at the moment, doesn't really matter. But if you can lock down that one meal, that means the next meal that comes up, whenever you're ready for it, your gut starts, your habits start to change. Then you can start doing 2 meals, and then you can start doing 3 meals, or start adjusting however you need. So typically, the easiest way I will tell clients, if this was the very last time I was going to see you, this is what I would want you to take away from protein. When you go to eat, make sure the protein's about the size of your palm. Right, I'm sure a lot of people have heard that one, right?
That's your serving size.
So
right? Your steak is not the porterhouse that's 75.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And so again, don't overcomplicate it. What you're looking for is like my chicken or my steak, is it like this big or is it around like this big, right? So obviously, I'm like one of the smallest people that you're probably ever gonna see. Like I'm not like exactly we're almost the same weight, right? So, but if you hold up your hand right here, you're gonna see there's a significant difference between mine and his, right? Yes. So, so that's just an easy way to handle it for the.
That's nice.
Yeah. But does that kind of give you an easy way to answer it? Perfect.
So breakfast, can breakfast be a bagel and a coffee? No, that's worthless. It's not going to do anything for you. You need to have your eggs and your lox and whatever else you want to put on your bagel, or maybe you start your day with your protein shake. You can add a scoop of protein into your coffee. It's delicious. Works well. Yeah.
Is there a particular brand of protein that you recommend?
We do. I can send you a list. I believe, have everybody's email who's here. We will follow up with you and I'll send you some of our favorites. Yes, absolutely. We'll share those. And folks online too. We can share those with them as well. Yeah. And we have some here if you want to even try them. And that's the thing with me. If I taste it and it's like, it tastes chalky, or if it's too thick, or if it's, I'm not touching it. I won't do it. Yeah.
So we're talking whey protein or what?
So whey protein, it all depends on your gut, and we can have individual conversations with this. Some people's gut doesn't like whey protein, and so a veggie-based pea protein or something like that works a lot better. Some people do really well with whey protein. They don't get gassy, they don't get bloated, they don't feel like they're sick to their stomach. So we can have those one-on-one conversations and guide you through that. Yeah, what are you thinking?
Oh, no, I was just saying, yeah, just listen to your gut.
Yeah.
Your friends and family will thank you.
Yeah, yes,
Often when we talk about protein, we can say the meats.
yeah.
You mentioned the beets, the vegetables,
Mhm.
beans, different types of greens, lettuce, and protein too.
Yeah.
It's not just meat, absolutely. Yes,
I know it's not a simple protein, but it's, if you take a lot of.
it does, but not more than 10 grams. So if you're doing a lot of collagen, you see a lot of these, what are they, collagen peptides, right? No more than 5, no more than 10 a day. 5 is kind of a normal dose, no more than 10. Creatine, this is our new favorite thing. So creatine and CreaPure are similar, slightly different. CreaPure is made in Germany. If you get CreaPure, that the canister does not say made in Germany, big fat lie, don't touch it, right? CreaPure is the purest form available of creatine. Creatine does not make you look like a bodybuilder. Creatine helps the cells talk to each other, helps give energy, helps you feel stronger, tolerate heavier weights to lift, and it enhances cognitive function like you wouldn't believe. It's a better supplement for cognitive function and performance than it is for building muscle. Building muscle equals protein. Creatine is essential and everybody should be doing it. Yeah. We are all on that. Start with 5 grams a day. You feel good with that. Go to 10. And then again, one-on-one conversations, it gets down to fractions and do a little math and figure out what's the correct dose for you. Yeah.
So years ago, I used creatine, and one of the difficulties that I had with it was I had a tendency to cramp or get muscle strains. Here. So what do you do about that to prevent that?
So it's gotten a lot cleaner and better as a supplement. That is one that we'll throw in the email. Well, I know Mandy's speaking notes on this. Mandy runs my office and my life. Thank you very much, Mandy. We will send you our favorite form of CreaPure. That being said, when you're on creatine or any kind of these supplements, you have to make sure your hydration is up. If your hydration is not up, you're going to get that kind of stuff.
And so, doctor.
Yes,
Yeah.
if you're on dialysis, watch out. Yeah. And as we're talking about muscles and sarcopenia, before we get up and start to get busy, one of the other big questions that we get, especially as a woman, is it better for me to lift lighter weights at higher repetitions or heavier weights at lower repetitions? We're going to just take a vote. How many think lighter weights at higher repetitions? How many think heavier weights at lower repetitions? Yes. So we want to work towards confidence of moving and lifting heavier weights at lower repetitions than to perform 15 to 20 of something with a light, easy dumbbell. That's not going to do much. So cellular wise, when you do that really fast, light work, you're working towards the surface of your muscles. When you start doing heavier, deeper weights, you're physically burning deeper into the tissue and affecting bone. Your muscles are then pulling on bone. It's actually when we deal with heavier weights also that we see the bigger and better change in our metabolism and your basal metabolic rate. There we go, found it, menopause, welcome. So yeah, undoubtedly, if you've never lifted anything more than a kitchen spatula, it's great. We can start with that. But just know that these little cute 3-pounders is not going to be where you're going to stay. We'll guide you on this journey towards putting 10, 15, 20, 25 pounds in your hands and feeling great and strong and confident. So, yeah, question. Isometrics are really powerful. Do you want to talk about isometrics?
They're great, and there's a lot of research that they're coming out right now that they are really great with tendon injuries, specifically loading at different intensities, but long load, higher load isometric activities. They're great, right? They're a great tool. That shouldn't be all you do, right? So you want to load, right, that eccentric, that concentric phase, the negative positive, right, of the push. Right? That's a huge part of it, right? You're working that muscle through its full length. That's what you want to do. But isometrics are a great tool for health of tendons and for activation, right? You get more neurological activation, right? The longer you hold something, right? So you're activating all of those muscle units and you're activating all of those signals from the brain are going to that muscle while you do the contraction. So they're great. They're a great tool in a program, right? But not just isometric, not just
isometrics. Does anybody here know what an isometric exercise is? No. Okay. Isometric is when you're going to be, yeah. So if I'm going to do the exercise, I'm going to do an isometric exercise for my tricep. If he wasn't here, the act is that I'm going to be pushing down, right? So if he is here, I'm going to take 80% of my effort and try to push, but I'm actually not moving. Isometric, no movement. So it's very good for your joints if you have a lot of joint pain, if you have something like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, if you've got arthritis, some forms of arthritis, osteoarthritis, sometimes the isometrics are better, but isometrics have to be done at 80% of your maximum ability in order to be effective.
In my younger years, I think we said, we're in green homes.
Okay, thank you for your service.
That was our exercise. That's all we did.
Calisthenics and isometrics. Yeah, they're very effective. And often done in the rehab kind of after a shoulder surgery or something like that. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
I find when I exercise with heavier weights for less time, that it makes me really tired. Like sometimes I'll feel like taking like a 3-hour nap or something like that. So
Your body will adapt.
because I guess, so then if I do the exercises, then basically like the whole day has been spent exercising. So you're exercising for like an hour. And then you're just so ready out, you can't sleep anything. It's sort of out, a few hours. And so I guess that's what.
So that's very common. 3 things I'm going to say. Let's make sure your hydration is right, including electrolytes. You might need to supplement some electrolytes when we're working really hard. Number 2, make sure you're fueling your body correctly with adequate protein, right? And getting carbohydrates in there. Carbs are your first source of your body pulling energy. So these low carb, no carb, blah, 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 kick them out the door. No way. It's garbage, right? So you need carbs to start your body's energy process. So, and then number 3, there is a window that when you start to work with this intensity of building muscle, you're dog tired for just a little while till your body adapts. Push through that and let's get to that point where you're like, got it. Yes.
So this is just my personal experience. I found that when I didn't eat and I fasted before I went to work out, I actually felt stronger and more capable than if I'd had something light beforehand. Is that because there's nothing for the body to multitask, like processing food? while I'm working out? I mean,
Great question. Oftentimes that's like a gut biome thing where there's a gluten intolerance, there's some kind of underlying celiac disease where your body pulls a lot of energy to digest food. So there used to be a lot of workout groups and companies and online platforms that would encourage people to do lifting fasted. That's not really the recommendation anymore. That being said, if it works good for you, do it, right?
right, I was just experimenting.
Yeah.
With myself.
If that works for you and your body, rock and roll. As long as you can still make gains. Because the goal is not to get to these 15-pound dumbbells and then go, I've made it. I'm not using the threes. We're going to continue. Then we're going to go 17.5. Then we're going 20s. Then we're going 25s. Okay? We're going to continue to grow. So long as your body has blood and oxygen, and you're above the floor, right? Above the ground, we're good and your body can improve its status. Always, forever. We have a 100-year-old woman who comes in here. We have a 98-year-old woman who comes in here. She's pushing the sled. Okay? Yeah. Your body, as long as you have oxygen, blood, and you're above ground, you're good. You're good.
So 2 questions related to aerobic exercise.
Sure.
So, you know, over time, some recommendations have gone back and forth, what the science says we should be doing. And often what I try to do during my workouts is some aerobic and some strength training.
Sure.
And recently I've been reading more about the importance of doing the strength training first and the aerobic second, because you have more strength, it's working your muscles harder.
Yes, yes, and yes.
Okay, so that answers question 1. Question 2 is that I have spent more of my life as a runner and aerobic person than a lifter.
Yeah. And
I'm wondering the degree to which you can't tell by how big this is. Is it more? Is there a point at which the aerobic exercise is working against building muscle?
yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, you're doing your reading in all the right places. Good job. This isn't typing.
What is that threshold?
So that threshold is different for every person. Again, this is not the answer that you want to hear. But if you polled all 10 of us who are in this room right now, I think we would agree that the ultimate prescription for exercise for anyone 40 and above is lifting weights 3 times a week. That could be half-an-hour sessions. That could be hour sessions. That could start as a half an hour and work to build your tolerance towards an hour. Obviously, the hour is better, right? But lifting weights 3 times a week and walking, all you need to do for your cardio. If you get enjoyment from playing pickleball, swimming, running, cycling, doing any of those things, and they fill your cup and they bring you joy, by all means, do it. Do it. But the baseline prescription for what every human needs is 3 sessions a week of lifting weights and walking. Just like he said, that level 2 heart rate where you can talk, but you're not going to be able to sing and like do your best opera, right? So you're working hard. You're not just like casually walking on the beach. Getting to your threshold question. Welcome to our HVAC system. There it is again. Your threshold question. When, this is hard to explain. When your metabolism is no longer improving and on your in-body scan, when you're not seeing improvements in your basal metabolic rate, then our body's fighting each other. At this point of building muscle, building tissue, we should constantly be improving that reserve. When those numbers start to flatline or go down, we've found that threshold.
Even if we
Correct. Yeah.
So you both said that it's better to do your lifting first and then your aerobic.
Yes.
Can you kind of explain why that is and what's going on? Because I always said the way.
We were taught for a long time, warm up your body, and then lift. What we know now is the post-exercise oxygen consumption is improved, and we get a longer period of time that our body burns calories from our exercise if we do the hard work first and then follow it up with the cardiovascular. When we're lifting weights, we're depleting our energy, we're depleting our oxygen, and we're increasing blood flow. Then we finish our exercise and we go do cardio. What does cardio make you do?
The oxygen.
Breathe, and it gets your oxygen back. Right?
Is there a particular length of cardio?
That being said, don't even worry about your cardio, other than walking. Do any of us here lift and then go do cardio? Okay. I mean, you don't have to. You really don't even have to. If it's something you love, you want to go for a run or a bike or something, go for it. But if you lift, you're done.
Right, but it doesn't work with the cardio stamina. If you're a runner or you're a pickleball player, or you need that stamina to keep going.
You'll get that as you build more muscle too. You don't only get stamina from doing cardio. Yeah.
So the 3 days a week recreation lifting weights, in my old school training, it was like, don't lift more than 2 body parts per session. So you're lifting 5 days a week, maybe 4 days, but you're just doing 2 body parts at a time. It's the amount of time it takes when you're in a gym and everybody's used to equipment. So if you try to do all body parts, so what's that about? Is that okay if you just target a couple, but you do it 4 times, 5 times a week? Is something like this?
If you want to program like that, yes. I'm going to give you the quick answer, and then if you want to jump into this and take more of it, rock and roll. For those of us who are going to come and lift 3 times a week, you want to get the most bang for your buck. You want to do the compound movements that are going to use this muscle group, this muscle group, this muscle group, and this muscle group all in one movement. You're getting the most bang for your buck. You're engaging everything, right? And then after that, you might do some accessory movements that are really targeted towards, like, let's say, our rotator cuff, right? Our blood supply to our rotator cuff decreases by over 40% when we hit our 50s. It's crazy. That's why somebody can roll over at night and get a massive rotator cuff tear. Or you're traveling and you put your suitcase up and you've done it 1,000 times, and all of a sudden this time it tore your rotator cuff, right? Blood supply decreases to our muscles. So that being said, you do those big full body compound lifts all 3 times that you hit the gym. And then you add things on top of it. If you want to program that way into really going to the gym 4 days, 5 days a week, that's where his brain comes in.
So on that answer, the old school way you're looking at it, that's a bodybuilding style, and that's literally spelled out to that. The thought process was of not lifting 2 days of work. Again, that was an old way of a bodybuilding routine. We now know that you can literally do 3 times a week, and you'll actually get better results. So you can we're just kind of like calm the brain on that old school one. We've gotten a lot better at lifting, thank goodness, right? But it's all just kind of, you just kind of like, if you like the easy, like layman's terms way of like understanding like how much to lift and stuff is by like that music, man. I like it. So like the way that you would do it though is honestly just if we, again, you can dial it back super easy. Your body's gonna be telling you, right? Like if you come out, like just say we did like heavy chest day and some other stuff, and you come back and you're like, man, I can barely move, or like I'm exhausted from that, then your body's telling you that it's time to take a little bit of a break, right? Again, like the easiest way is just don't overcomplicate it, but you can definitely like when I was like CrossFit, I was literally doing squats every single day. Yeah, and all I did was get stronger and faster.
You should do every day. Like I heard you can do abs.
You can do everything every day. It just depends on the intensity at which you press.
Yeah. It's all about intensity. It's all about intensity. And I will tell you, as we age, consistency is far more beneficial than intensity. Staying consistent with your muscle building will get you incredible results. This is my potty language, right, from pro sports. Balls to the wall, right? We've all heard this phrase. You go all out, you go wild, you go super hard intensity, you can actually do harm, right? You can mess up your sleep because you're spiking your cortisol too high. And so your stress hormone doesn't know if you just did a workout or if you're getting chased by a Siberian tiger. It's all the same to your body. It's like cortisol. Whoa, whoa. So too much intensity is not always wonderful and can be detrimental. You had a question, sir. Oops, sorry. Yeah, behind you, blue shirt.
Is there any difference between free weights and machine?
So free weights are generally like, if the easy term is like it just allows stability, but it allows the different sides of the body to work individually, right? Whereas a machine, we have like a synergistic effect. So if I'm pressing with both arms, and plus it's in a locked movement, so they're super safe. They have great use for if you're just trying to like exhaust the muscles because you're super safe. But I personally don't like machines a whole lot, so I always do free weights just for a lot of stability. And again, make sure that each side of the body gets its own attention. Yes.
Yes.
Because you have like
have to use your
if you're like over here I'm pressing and I'm on a rack like over here that just has it can only move that one way. I'm just using just like my primary muscles just to press through it, and I'm not even like I can't even do anything else on it, right?
So you're not talking about weights, you're not talking about loads, you're not talking about forcing.
No, I'm actually talking about joint stability. Yeah, full joint stability. So if you're sitting on the ground with like I'm on a bench, right, and I'm pressing up and say I'm lying down, right, and I'm pressing up, my rotator cuff has to constantly stabilize that weight the entire way down and back up. If I lie down in front of that machine over there and I press, like I don't have to do much of anything other than just press, right? So machines don't really do much stability at all. But
There's no compensation for loads.
I'm sorry, I don't.
No.
It depends on the machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Hey, wait, let him. Yeah, he is like.
If you talk about using a machine, that you less muscle stabilize, you will push heavier weight. So if I'm like on that machine, I can load that up really heavy, right? And I can push crazy weights. But then if you give me two dumbbells, where they're all moving around here, those same muscles, I now need to have other muscles that keep it from going all over the place.
And that's why it's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
That it's typically it can be very beneficial. Both are beneficial.
Yes.
By getting those stabilizer muscles, you're allowing your body to move outside of this predetermined track, which is kind of like if I'm pushing something, it's not always going to be just that, right? It might be here. And so by getting those stabilizer muscles good, but then like you said with the machines, if I'm trying to just hit my pecs and my shoulders, I can just do a machine until I just burn it.
So if you take a look around here, we're nerds. You got that part. We have far more space to move than machines. We have no screens on our cardio equipment. You're not there to read a book or to catch up on your email. You're there to spend 5 minutes to warm up so you can go move your body, right? And even our machines, so this is a leg press, but it's split into two sides. They're not even joined. So your right leg and your left leg both have to come to the party and do the same thing at the same time. Or lighting in here, direct, indirect lighting. You're not going to see a light bulb. Why? Because that changes our neurological system and how we process information. So pick a place. You know, sometimes you go into the bigger box gyms, right? And it's just like lights and noise and loud and crazy and overstimulating. Cue into that. It can be too much. It can be too much. So nerd out on those kind of details. It is 7:05. We're supposed to be done at 7:30. We haven't started our lifting yet. Any other burning questions, or can we get going towards moving and learning? Yes, one more burning question. Yes.
Okay, so you said the machines, didn't give us much stability. right? But then also sometimes you told, but you want to make sure you're doing it with the correct posture, otherwise you're making, you're improving, but with the wrong posture, which isn't good.
The
So,
compensatory muscles.
yeah, how do you, do that?
That comes down to your coach, not you. So it should be on your coach to be making sure that your posture, your form, your speed, your load, your repetitions, all of that should be spot on and tailored to you. People get in a lot of trouble when you just hit a gym and start going around on 5 different pieces of equipment, right? And oftentimes we're sitting on those equipment and we sit way too much. Sitting is the new smoking. We all know that, right? So we sit all day, we sit to eat, we sit to drive, we sit to be on the computer, and then people go to the gym and what do? They sit on freaking machines. Drives me nuts. So there are exactly 9 places in this building right here that you can sit down. That's by design. Level. So are you ready to stand up and move? Great. Come on, stand up. David's going to take over. You get the microphone now for our folks online. He's going to have to stay central here. We do have several folks online watching this. I'm going to give this one. So come on over. Let's get people around on this side.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And start to move. So only thing that matters is that he is in front of that camera. The rest of us can all spread out.
Kind of try to circle around here a little bit. Yeah, as much as we can. Like I said, everyone can kind of see me at least. That's cool. All right, cool. So I take it you guys got the email. This is the 2-hour boot camp class that we're gonna be doing there. All right, so we're just gonna take you through a couple of basic movements. Remember that we go through weightlifting. People have all these preconceived notions of what it is. Bodybuilding, working out, injuries. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't lift heavy weights, all that kind of stuff. We always have to remember that when you're doing weightlifting, it's really all you're doing is just organizing your joints and bracing your core, pretty much. That's all we're doing, right? And then we just add a little bit of load to everything that you do. So all we're going to do right now is we're just going to make sure that everything is done to the best of our ability that we have at this time. Okay. So we're going to go around and just kind of guide you through some basic exercises. We have a couple of the coaches, a couple of the PTs that will kind of help you out in some of those positions. A couple of these things, I might have you guys hang out in some of these positions for a little longer. If you get a little uncomfortable, if it really becomes really uncomfortable, feel free to stand up. If you're just a little tired, that's all right. I won't tell anybody, and you can just hang out there with me. All right. So the first exercise that we will go through.
So fast. Can you hear him? Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right. Just checking.
All right. So the first thing that we're going to go through is going to be your squats. All right. Who here knows what a squat is? Raise your hand real high. I'm 40 years old, so my eyes aren't so good anymore, right? So okay, cool. All right. So what we're going to go through once again is that squatting position. But again, we have a bunch of different ways that we can do this. You'll probably hear stuff online on how to do it. All we're going to give you is some good things that you can take home with you to make sure that you're doing the best that you can. So remember, when we squat, what we're going to do is we're going to start from the feet up. All right. So your big thing that you need to pay attention to is, let's say you have a point right here on your heel, the big knuckle of your big toe, and the little knuckle of your little toe, right? So those 3 points, those 3 spots right there. As long as you have contact with those 3 points during your squat the entire time, you're going to know that you're at least somewhat in the right area, and you know that we're some kind of safe, right? So what are the 3 spots real quick? Heel, big knuckle, big toe, and the knuckle, small toe, right? Cool. All right, so everyone find those spots. Everyone around your feet. I want you to think about those 3 points. All right, who's Kate, right? Look at that. Bunch of straight A students. All right. Cool. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to go through, I'm going to be moving around a lot. You guys stay right there. We want to make sure your tummy's nice and tight. So pretend like someone was going to come and slap me in the stomach. All right. None of us will ever do that, but I still want you to brace like that. That makes sure that all right here stays nice and stable. All right. So from here, all we're going to do, make sure that those feet are about shoulder width apart-ish. All right. So the way I like to say it, pretend like we're all on a rocky, like kind of yacht. Right. If it was kind of rocking a little bit, we kind of have a good stance right there. All right. So from here, your tummy's tight. All 3 points are right here. We're just going to unlock those hips. Kind of think like you're trying to find a seat behind you. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down to whatever depth you feel comfortable holding. All right. So now that you're at that depth, I want you to recheck your feet. Are your heels coming up a little bit? Are they kind of off to the side a little bit? You have all 3 points. All right. I want you to brace that tummy real tight and then just stay right back there. All right. Piece of cake, right?
Some of you are gonna feel better with your feet parallel. and
Well, hang on one second. Hey, so we're gonna jump into that. The
Oh,
whole,
yes,
whole
go.
thing. Yeah, no, I got the whole thing all locked out right now. All right. So what we're gonna do right here, next thing right here, we're gonna come right back down and we're gonna slowly start improving all this stuff and then eventually jump into what she's talking about here. All right. So all 3 points. Yeah. Tummy's tight. All right, cool. Unlock those hips, come back down, and there's one other thing that we're going to have you do now, right? As we do this, we want to check your knees. Are they coming in like this? If they are, we don't want this. This is like a bad idea, right? As best as you can, try to bring them out so that way they're at least in line with your toes or slightly further out. And so when I say press your knees out, we're not moving your feet further. We're just kind of driving those knees out just a little bit. All right, tighten that tummy once again. Knees are still staying out, and you drive yourself all the way back up. Yeah? Pretty good? All right, cool. So now we're gonna go into one more thing. So when we were talking about with parallel feet, angled feet, you're gonna hear a bunch of things. The best thing I've heard is we want the option to be able to do whichever one you choose, right? Obviously that option may or may not come, you know, how much time you invest in your hips. But as we go through, feel free to do parallel, feel free to open your feet up a little more. And what you'll notice is that a lot of times people will go parallel and they end up right here, they open it up and all of a sudden they're like right here, right? So feel free to play around with what feels most comfortable for you. And your like test is going to be how high can you keep that chest as you go down. If we're bending over like this and coming down, we probably need to change something, right? We need to open those feet up a little bit. All right, so everyone go ahead and angle those feet out a little bit. Once again, about that 45 degrees-ish, right? Again, all 3 points, right? Abs are nice and tight. Unlocking those hips, coming down. Remember, as we're doing that, we're pressing those knees out just a little bit. Keep that tummy real tight. At the bottom, check all 3 points again. Cool. And then press up to those heels and coming right back up. Does that feel different for anybody compared to how you used to before? What are the differences you feel?
I can get down.
Okay. Gotcha. She can get down lower. Knees. Yeah. What is that? They're singing. They feel better. They feel worse. Feel better? Cool. Awesome. Anything over here? Everything felt the same? Cool.
If anybody feels like your balance is compromised, err on the side of your feet being wider than narrower. A wider base of support will always be better if you've got poor vision or if you have compromised balance.
All right, so this one, what we're gonna do, just because we're not trying to make sure we're not making everyone too sore, we're gonna go through up to 10 reps. I want to give you a chance to practice this here, right? If you have any questions as you're doing it, or if you feel something like that, just wave one of us down so we can kind of help you kind of tinker with it a little bit. All right. So feet about 45 degrees apart. All 3 points are on the ground. Your tummy is nice and tight. At your own pace, feel free to come down, hang out down there for a second, and then coming right back up. Good. At your own pace now, just keep going up and down. And I want you to actively think about what we just talked about. It's easy to do as I'm talking, but I want you to actively think about it as you're going up and down. Your feet position. Watching out for those knees.
I'm gonna come whack you in the stomach. Yes.
Keeping that tummy nice and tight. And for those of you who felt like something felt better, you always want to cue into that. If it feels good and it continues to feel like that, that's something you want to keep repeating. If you're starting to notice something is changing, it's time to reevaluate what we've been doing, right? Feel pretty good?
Too slow.
Yeah. Feels good?
No, I feel dizzy.
No, we don't want you to feel dizzy. You know what? Yeah, and that's another thing too. If anybody's doing these and you feel a little dizzy, lightheaded with any exercise ever, dizzy or lightheadedness or nausea, take a break. Take a break and wait for it to go away. The one thing I see newbies do all the time, they're like, "Oh no, I'm gonna be good," and they jump right back into it, and then they just get sick. Don't do it. Just take a break. All right, cool. Anybody have any more questions on the squat? Feels pretty good.
Wait, let's have you show them.
Oh,
Like
wait,
holding,
hang on a second. What was it?
like,
Push the front of my knee.
Okay. I'm actually gonna, I will refer that out to them, somebody, like one of the DPTs can talk to you about it, and then we can kind of keep on from there.
so yeah, if you want to load this and add weight to it, here's one way that you can do that by holding the dumbbell.
So you'll hold it up here by the head of it, and I'll make my hands cup in like this, right? So I'm not gripping it here. That's gonna want to pull me down. I'm gonna stack myself up, keep it nice and close to my chest, because as soon as it starts to come around, it's gonna make me do that, not a proud chest. I'm gonna feel my lower back. So the same kind of thing, as they were saying, loose hips, I sink down, my chest is up, and I just reverse it right back on up. Okay. Yeah, kettlebell, there's a couple different ways you can do it for this. Same kind of idea. I'll hold it by the ball here so I can have it in my hands, right? That way I'm not trying to curl it up. Same thing here. Come down nice and low and do the same thing. You could also eventually into where you just hold it down low here, if that's more comfortable for you, and then come on back. It's different ways.
Here's another way with 2 dumbbells.
Same kind of idea. A little bit more work, right? Depending on the weights that you're holding, right? But you have 5s, 10s, whatever you have, right? To start out, easy to hold right here at shoulder height. Again, you hold it far away from your body, it's going to pull you forward. Hold it right on your shoulders here, right?
With
You're done.
elbows down.
Yep.
Not tucked down.
A lot of people have varying strength from one side to the other. Would you still use like the same pound of weight on each side, or would you adjust for the differences of your ability?
Depends. It depends. If you can do it and you can do it with good form and do it safely, you can do the same way, right? If that's not how you can do it, right? You can use one of the larger weights, say in the center, or you can hold just one at a time, right? And focus, you can do maybe the same weight, right? Do whatever weight you feel comfortable doing in your stronger hand, right? Then you can hold the same weight the other side, and you can help your arm a little bit, right? You could do something like that where you're getting the same stimulus to both sides, and you get a little bit more core work because you're holding just one weight on one side of your body and you have to stabilize. There are different ways that you can kind of modify.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you supposed to breathe a certain way, like when you're going down or coming out or holding?
Yeah, so with breathing, do you want to think about compressing right here? So when we were talking about tightening your tummy, remember, like if you tighten your tummy, it's kind of hard to breathe in, right? So like tighten it, right? So will you kind of use that as like a cue? So as you're coming down right here, take a big deep breath, compress that tummy right there, and exhale like on the way up with the squat.
Breathe in going down, breathe out coming up.
Or taking a breath sometime before or during there. We just want to make sure you have enough air to exhale as you come up.
Thank you.
I think it's fair to say as we age, we all have back pain. Some of us, I think, have herniated discs.
Yeah.
How do we compensate for that during this exercise when you start feeling your back talking to you?
So
Like us?
what we actually just went through, that would actually be the correct position to go into. Anything outside of that, especially when we come to herniated discs or like arthritis or something real localized, that would take a conversation with your coach and stuff. Yeah, because we can go into like all kinds of stuff, but we kind of have to see what's actually going on before we can make like an adjustment that would be specific for you.
Blanket statement there. One thing we don't want to do with squatting in a herniated disc is put a big loaded bar on the top of your shoulders, because that's just going to compress those discs, right? So those days are gone, but they should be gone for all of us anyways. But it's not helpful. It's not helpful.
Well, so I use the machine, the weighted squat machine,
Sure.
right? But I noticed that the position that they put you in that machine is my feet are flat. That is actually a little bit of a slope, like a ramp that you should. And it's like, I'm always kind of confused because I'm thinking I should have my weight right through my heels.
Let's get you on the floor instead of that machine. Yeah. Yep. 9.9 times out of 10, the floor and a dumbbell, a kettlebell is going to be better than a machine. Yeah. Go ahead, I'm done now.
Okay, cool. No other questions for the squats or anything? All right, cool. Just for time purposes and making sure we understand how to do. One thing I want to go through is actually how to press correctly. All right. So I've done this with classes before. We don't actually need any weights. You know, as long as we understand how to put your arms and load yourself, this tends to translate into any version that you want to do. All right. So who was it that we said that had? Was it you that was doing the old school bodybuilding? Yeah. All right. Cool. So back in the day, we were taught like out here nice and wide, right? Because it like gives you a nice big chest. Yeah, nice big chest and everything. There's actually not, I wish that one would die. I genuinely wish that one would die so hard, right? This is generally, it's the one thing in pressing that just will not go away for some reason, right? We've proven this over and over again. This is just a trash way to press. For performance-wise, right? Everything has its place. You can eventually sort of be out there, but this is in a very, very small, very niche type of thing. So when we press, what we want to do is we want to think about our movement is we perform under stress. We repeat under stress what we perform under stress. All right, think about that. Keep that in reminder. We repeat under stress what we perform under stress. That means if I'm going to go through and I'm going to do anything type of pressing, right, we want it to mimic that movement and that pattern that we're doing, right? So if I come up to you, right, and I'd say, like, I would say, like, somebody, let's say I had like a ton of onions and I came up into your face, you're not gonna be like, get out of my face, right? Like, there's not a person on the planet that does this to get out, right? You're always like right here, right? So everyone, pretend like you're just pushing me away, just like, just push me, and just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. Now, pay attention to where your arms go, right? Are they out here at all? No, they're down here, right? This is the natural way to It's always one. I like that. Yeah, I like that. All right, so when we go to load, right? So we want to have around that 45-degree angle-ish. You don't have to be super like accurate with this or bring out a protractor like that. Just somewhat kind of tough, right? And we have this position where we'll go into that right here. Yeah. That's a very good question right here, but we want to think elbows kind of right around here, what's most comfortable for you. This does a couple things, right? It gets the scapula to move correctly. It gets the lats to lock in a little bit and give us a little more stability. And it also recruits more of the pressing position right here. The one thing with, now you might think to yourself, like, how can I do that with a barbell, right? Even with the barbell, we don't do this. We grab onto it and we create torque, right? So we're actually coming back into here, right? So I just want to really make sure that everyone really understands that part, because for some reason that thing, it's just my thing, right? So when we go through, again, have everyone right here, right? Put your hands up kind of like you're facing me. All right, now one thing we want to watch for is when you press, we don't want this right here, like the hand right here. This right here is going to be a lot of tricep, and it just creates a ton of stress in your joints. We want to have that wrist somewhat over the elbow, somewhat over it, right? So you were just doing a thing right now, like this, and it was straight from my elbow straight out like that. Just pull those hands up, and that's about the position that you want to be in, right? Does that kind of answer your question? Perfect. So when we're going through and pressing up, all you're going to do is keep that tummy nice and tight. You can see right here, pressing nice and tight, straight up. So that way the wrists will be right in front of your shoulders as you're standing, right? So right here, pressing straight out. So when you're standing out, just like Superman, right? Or you were getting ready to ride a chopper, right? So wrists are right for the shoulders. As we come back down, we come in here, right? Right to that starting position. Now, if you look at my hand, my wrist right here, I'm actually moving in a march, right? That is actually the correct path for a barbell or a press in general. Because again, we're following the elbow straight out right there.
And that's something a machine's not going to do for you.
Yeah.
A machine is going to go in a straight line.
And then going into that question, was it yours the machines that you were asking? Yeah. So the other thing too is when we press like this, we're not using the machine. Let's say we're using the push-up or the barbell or any free weights. That rotator cuff is actually working with you. And then again, to make sure that we're nice and stable through the whole thing. But like Ian was saying, like if you're going for brute strength, that's, yeah, machine's the way to go. So as we come into this, just so you can kind of see, oops, I'm sorry. This is not my sunglasses. All right, so in real time right here, so again, when you're bracing up, if you see like where my arms are going, right here, I'm not flared out right here, nice and secure. Again, pressing straight up. And every single press that you do anywhere, you can even practice on the wall, like going up against the wall, coming right here, coming right back up. So when you do these, even if you're like currently exercising now, and what I said just sounds a little bit different, lighten the weight and just go after the movement. Like follow up with the movement and then just start getting testing the weights, and you're going to start moving up way better. Everything should start to feel nice. Cool. Any questions on that?
Don't have free weights or anything. Is that isometric when you push it against the wall?
Not isometric, but it's just the angle of it is very different, so it's going to be much like think of it as more of a modified version because you're actually moving through the motion. Like if I was standing there and pressing like nothing was moving, that would be isometric.
Oh,
So you can do that if your elbows are bent. You're just trying to push the wall over.
right.
Yeah. Otherwise, you can stand and do. Chris, can you show us a wall press right there? Yeah. So there you go. You can stand at your kitchen counter, and you can pretend like that's your kitchen counter. And so you can start to slowly work yourself down to the floor, right? So your kitchen counter right by your sink might be a great place to do this. Or you can lay on your back and press up toward the ceiling, right? A push-up and a chest press are the same thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Are we deadlifting?
Yeah, we can. Yeah. Let's go through
If
that.
anybody has to leave at 7:30,
Real fast, who here knows what a deadlift is? Again, raise your hand real high. Yeah, real high. Yeah? So, good. All right, who here has heard that deadlifts hurt you or they're bad, right? We've all heard that. That's pretty much why they're banned. Everyone's like, oh, I messed up, hurt my back, right? So this is one thing that I also.
Not a jerk, right? Not a jerk.
What's that?
Not a jerk.
Not a deadlift, not a jerk, correct, yes. So a deadlift, one of the things that, like I said, with the pressing, we're trying to get rid of this, kind of preach the gospel of a secure shoulder. The one big thing that I hear all the time, especially in some of the older populations, is I don't want to do deadlifts because my back hurts. I have an issue with my back, right? These are the people that really should be doing deadlifts. But once again, I just showed you guys how to squat. We were not loaded, correct? Right? I just showed you how to press. I was not loaded. I'm going to show you how to do a deadlift. I won't be loaded, right? Again, the movement, the exercise is just the movement. The load is totally variable, right? So when we talk about a deadlift, what happens is we lock our trunk right here. It's essentially teaching you how to hinge at the hips, but making sure that our entire core is nice and braced and our back is in the most secure position possible, right? So this is why we want people to learn how to do this correctly, because if you have a back issue, you finally have a tool to be able to protect your back and you know your limitations. So when we do this one right here, we can try this one if you guys want. Feel free to, drop into it a little bit if you want. So what we'll do right here, same thing. All right, so we're gonna have your feet about hip width apart. On this one, try to make them somewhat symmetrical, so otherwise don't have like one foot like this, right? Either straight forward or both something at the ankle, right? All right, so just like the squat, you're identifying your 3 points in your feet, right? All right, so here's going to be the tricky part. Here's going to see who knows how to move their body well or not, who can do salsa, right? So from here, what we're going to do is I want you to brace your tummy real tight and lock this. Now here's the tricky part, all right? I want you to think about there's a chair behind you, but someone scooted it back just a little too far, and you're not entirely sure where it's at. You have a bit of movement, right? All right, so what I want you to do here is I want you to push your hips back, slightly bend that knee, but I want you to act like you're like, man, I know that chair back there somewhere, right? And I want you to come down nice and low, and then I want you to squeeze those shoulder blades back just a tiny bit, right? All right, so holding that in position, what we want to make sure is that we're not going to a full squat. All right, if you are, I want you to try to straighten those knees out wherever you're at. I want you to try to straighten those knees out just a little bit so we can feel some tension in your hamstring back here. All right. Can everyone feel stuff in your hamstrings? Yes, you got it. If you feel it in your quads, what you need to do is shift your hips back just a little further, and that's what makes it kind of weak, right? So if you hear like in that position right there, next thing I want you to do is squeeze those glutes, drive those heels into the ground, and bring yourself to a full standing position. All right, this is the intro to a deadlift. This is like the concept of it. Now, whenever we're doing it, the other thing that you need to really pay attention to is, and this is like, even if you're like just picking something off the floor, I'm never going to go, man, like, boy, that pot of flowers needs to be moved. I'm not going to be like, you know what I mean? Like, does this make any sense? And then you go, just, right? So the deadlift should never be like this, right? This right here, this is like, you have to kick your back in for this. So if I was like, man, I'm going to mess up every single person in here, we're going to have to move hands really far. We want the center of gravity to be as close to you as possible. So if I have my weights in my hand, right, you can keep your hands right against your thighs, slide them down your thighs. The second you hit your knees, just get them out of the way and go down until about your wrist is about your knee. From there, if you're feeling that tension in those hamstrings, coming right back up to the full standing position, right? So now some of you might have experience with lifting, and you'd be like, this is not exactly the standard deadlift. That is correct, right? But I like teaching it this way because it shows you what is supposed to be working, and as long as you understand that, you can hit any version of any deadlift, and you'll know, or even how to pick something up, and you'll know how to shift your weight back a little bit, right? As soon as we start loading ourselves too front forward is when we start running into issues in the back. All right, so if anybody wants to give another shot right here, tighten that tummy, send those hips back, keep those hands right against those legs, like physically touch your legs, right? And then come right back up. Boom. So going up and down, and the more you practice that, and the more you feel it in your hamstrings, that technically, again, this is like the Instagram tip version of it, right? This is when the back should start feeling better, your hips start getting more involved, and we start actually developing a lot of that stuff that causes a lot of that back pain we were talking about before.
So this isn't the elevator. You're not going down, right? You're sticking your rear end up and back, and hands are going down. There we go. There we go. Yeah. We're not going south.
He's getting sizzled, man, like.
Yeah.
So those are the three main movements that we like to kind of keep, have people go through. It's also like in powerlifting, the three, they call them the big three that we go through, because these things, again, are all compound movements. Like, we're not just isolating one movement, doing a bicep curl, we're using the quad, your glutes, everything, right? The press, exact same thing. So all three of these movements hit all of the major body parts. If you master all of these, your strength will definitely go up, all right, as long as you load it correctly. And we also know that these are also things that are mimicking very important daily movements that you do, right? It's those three that give you a lot of those strength. And then like we were talking about before, you get persistence exercises, mobility, and then we start really getting into the individualized programming for you, because this is where generalizations just don't even matter anymore. Cool. That all being said, I know we went through a kind of a quick thing on this. Does anybody have any other questions as far as lifting? Does anybody want to just lift right now? That 2-hour boot camp? Yeah? Yeah? Cool. Awesome. Well, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, as we're heading out.
Question there.
Talk to my doctor about tonight. I have a problem. I said, you want X-ray? He says, no. He said, 89% of the men who walk in here, that joint is messed up and they can't
Press or hold their weight.
They can't do anything that impacts this, where the thumb meets the arch. And my question is, what you just said, push that strength. And can anybody here, man, have a problem where thumb meets the wrist?
We've heard
We can
that.
work around
Yeah.
So how do you go about doing things? I won't do a push-up. It's too painful.
Again, a general thing that we can do is the TRX, if that works. Weights that might work, bands. There's other ways to pre-exhaust the muscle and then go through it, but maybe hold a isometric. And anything we can do to try to make it so that way, we really do work around those positions a lot. But there's other ways to do things outside of something really heavy, but we might have to change a couple of things in your programming. But yeah, absolutely. We want to work around that.
I'm not getting a whole bunch of guys, oh, yeah, that's my fun.
It's very,
The guy is so bad, they don't want to admit, or.
it's very.
All right, I'll own it.
So if you're lifting 3 times a week, you're doing those every single time. Are we clear on that? Most bang for your buck, those 3 right there. If we were to add a 4th, it would be a row. We can go through that or not. These 3 are the top 3, hands down. And you do them 3 times a week. You might start completely unloaded, just like he taught us. That's not the end goal. We're going to start to lift and carry and load.
How many sets and reps?
How many sets and reps?
And say like the very generic is like 3 sets of like 10. Yeah. I mean, everyone can have a different opinion on that kind of stuff. And again, but as a very generic answer, yeah, that's a real safe and easy one.
It's for everyone.
Yeah.
If you can do 15 or 20 of something, your weight's not heavy enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as we're kind of wrapping up this part right here, again, my name is David. I'm one of the coaches here. This is Coach Ian. We have Coach Jenny right over there. Obviously, I know you guys are coming through. So if anyone has any questions, individual stuff about programming or anything like that, how you can get started here, please let me know. I would absolutely love to get to know any of you, swap information, talk a little bit, answer more questions individually. But yeah, our cards up front, and I would absolutely love to work with anybody that would love to work with me. Even if you don't want to work with me. I'm still good. That's cool. But after that,
We have a ton of different packages here.